Louisiana All American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If the sports you wanna talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the south. It's Eric Hatfield and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're gonna sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station. To hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this and get your popcorn ready. Boy, you better not miss Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana. It's Joker B. Check this out.
Ooh, I'm just so fresh, so clean. Good morning, Baton Rouge. That's that deep soul today. Good morning, Baton Rouge. Today is Saturday, October the 22nd, 2016, and you are tuned in live for the 43rd edition in the year 2016 of the Louisiana All American Sports Show. Good morning. This is Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P.
And I'm Coach Perry Daniels.
And we are ready to deliver another fine hour of sports and community information and anything and everything. You know what you're signing up for when you tune into the Louisiana All American Sports Show. So, hey, look, it's as Mills Lane would say, let's get it on. First of all, how's everybody doing today?
Oh, man, it's a great day to be alive. You see the weather out there?
11 out of 10. Yep.
Perfect weather. How's everything going in the nation's capital, Coach?
Beautiful day here as well, man. I'm going to get out, catch some HBCU football after this game. After the show. Hey, I want to say this. Let's dedicate today's show to the Beaumont Bulls out of Beaumont, Texas. A football team of 11 and 12-year-olds whose season was canceled due to their kneeling for the national anthem before each game.
Wow.
The league kicked them out because they kneeled before the football game. And we're going to dedicate this to those brave young soldiers there. It's just amazing to see how this movement is growing across the country.
You know, Coach, it's amazing. I say this all the time. One of these incidents come up. Leave it to adults to ruin something that children have made right. You know, what is that teaching these young people about our society and how things work? I've often said the most beautiful thing about our society is that we're supposed to be. Even if I disagree with, I'll defend what you have to say. I'll defend what you have to say. Defend to the death your right to say what you want to say, even if I disagree with what you say. I know I butchered that, but these kids, you know, are getting involved. And they're getting burned for it. I think it sends the wrong message.
I think so too. This is what I think. This is what I think.
WHY.
We shut them down that way.
No, we just the Bears are what we thought they were.
Hold on a second.
And that's just pretty much how it is. You know, they what we thought they were. So I expect none less, and we're going to dedicate this show for them. Hey, we have a caller. Mm-hmm. Could that be the player of the game?
Yes, it is.
It's the player of the game. We'll go right in. We'll go right in, and we have the player.
Looks like we lost Coach. Yeah.
We'll go right in. We have the player of the game on the line. And, of course, you was there for the homecoming of McKinley, so won't you go right on in there?
Hey, we got on the line number 4, running back Jayren Thomas of the McKinley Panthers, the Louisiana All American Sports player of the game last night from the homecoming game. The unofficial count, this was according to Preston Guy at the Advocate. This was before the final drive. He had 117 yards on 17 carries. Tacked on a few more, I think, on that final drive to run out the clock. So an outstanding job. Jayren, thank you so much for calling us this morning. How are you doing today, young fella?
Doing fine. Thanks for having me.
Hey, look, it's awesome to have you here. We liked it. We've been watching you play all year. Last night was the first time we had you as player of the week, but you've had a fine season all year long, really toting the rock. You and Bryant and Lil John and Nick. and Marcus. Y'all have one heck of a backfield there at McKinley, and it's really great to have you on the show this morning. I think all the hosts. I think I speak for all the hosts when I say we've been looking forward to talking to you because of the role you played on the team this year.
Thank you.
So look, Joke, I know I interrupted your flow with that, and Perry, I know you were talking about the Bulls before you got the call dropped, and all I was saying before we lost you is that I think it sends the wrong message about community involvement and how society works.
Hey, yeah, that's absolutely right, Eric. The coaches received death threats once they took the knee in the initial game, and the board that governs the league reversed their permission that they had given the Bulls and the coaching staff to do this. And, you know, it's just amazing, man. But we're proud of those soldiers for doing that, and we're going to dedicate this show to the Beaumont Bulls. And it's great to have Jayren on right now. McKinley Panthers had a homecoming victory last night, so that's always good.
That's a good thing. And I was just picking back on what you were saying about the people that suspended that team for kneeling on the field, and I just pretty much said it like my man said it.
Or who we thought they were.
They are who
That's
we
why
thought.
we took the damn field.
And Perry, I know we got to get on the Jayren, but so you're saying, just so the audience understands, the adults on the team went through the proper channels to say, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. Are we going to have a problem here? They actually, they pre-cleared this in advance. They didn't just roll out and sucker punch the league with this. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct, Eric.
It makes me mad.
And after it went on for a couple of weeks, the league reversed its stance, the governing board, and came to them. First, they suspended the coach.
Wow.
And then they suspended the rest of the team.
That's infuriating.
That is infuriating, you know?
Well,
Or who we thought
Beaumont,
they were.
Texas.
Well,
But let's get to Jayren.
yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about that victory.
Absolutely. Look, Jayren, look, it's great to have you here. Look, I know we talked a little bit last night, but I would like you to, in your words, talk about, I guess, the team's perception, your perception and the team's perception as a whole of how the game went last night, how you guys played, and I guess how you think your coach felt about how you played. Because I got some very interesting nuggets at the end of that game listening to Coach Hilton talk to you guys. But I think the audience would much rather hear it in your own words. So just you talk about the game, talk about the team last night.
Well, we started off slow. You know, we had a fumble on the kickoff or whatever. I thought he was down, but the referee said he wasn't. But the defense played a great game. In the offense, we just had to pick it up, just keep going, you know, play all 4 quarters.
Right. I noticed when you guys came in with so much excitement. This is Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P. I'm getting a lot of feedback.
There's a mic near the speaker. Okay, I guess we're okay now.
I don't know.
Hang on, folks. We're getting some feedback here. All right. I know it's mic 1. I know it's Halloween. I know it's October, rather.
Some ghosts and goblins.
sounds like some specters.
Yeah, but I was saying that, of course, when you guys came in by being homecoming, it's such a big atmosphere out there, and against a team like Broadmoor that hasn't been doing good the last few games. And were you guys a little bit nervous about all the excitement? It took you, the offense, a little bit of time to settle down a little bit?
Yes, sir. We were very excited to go out there and play. You know, we thought we were just going to run over them, but we can't.
Exactly. And that's what I saw when you guys was very, very confident coming in. And sometimes on the kickoff, Lil John Lewis fumbles the ball, then they hit on a big play and was able to score first. And so I know that momentum plays a lot in the game of football, especially when you're at home in front of your home crowd. But, you know, you guys were able to dig in. And at halftime, what did Coach Hilton tell you guys, and how did you respond coming out of the second half?
That's our half right there, man. We put in so much work in practice doing those sprints. We just we never get tired. Coach Hilton just said, keep playing. We got this.
You know, one thing, there was a comment that was made after the game, and anyone who stuck around, I guess, for the post-game show last night, this made my ears ring. Coach, you know, when I saw you guys, I've seen teams that have won football games. I've seen teams that have lost. I've seen teams that have won big games. You guys almost looked like y'all had a tie, or the expressions on y'all's faces. And Coach Hilton said something to the effect of, "If you're disappointed with your performance, that's great." Talk about how, because I think a lot of you guys, and I think it's fair to say there were some opportunities left on the table by the team last night. But talk about Coach Hilton's approach to that. How he knew you guys kind of could have put more on the board, but how he was proud of you guys winning last night.
Yeah, we was actually disappointed because we know we way better than that. The coaching, he just keep our spirits up. And that's a great win. Great win.
I'm sure Coach Perry has got to have some questions for young Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, that's awesome, that statement, we're better than that. That's great. I'm glad to hear that from a coaching standpoint, and I'm sure Coach Hilton is glad that you have that sentiment. What year are you? Are you a senior, Jayren?
Okay, I'm a junior.
I can't hear his response, guys.
He said that he's a junior. Remember, we got it. He said he's a junior. Remember, he's on the phone.
Okay, he's a junior.
Yes, sir.
All right, so as a junior, I had an opportunity to watch the Central game live and in person. I'm getting that same feedback, Joke, or whatever is going on. I'm echoing it here. But I love running backs that run hard, take care of the football. I don't know if you realize or if the team realize you all have a great coaching staff. Your team is tremendously talented. What are you, as a junior, as a upperclassman on this team, what are you going to do about the penalties that McKinley seems to inflict themselves with?
Coach will get us right. Hello?
One more time, Jayren.
Our coach gonna handle it at practice this week, man. He gonna handle it for the rest of the year.
Okay, so it's one thing. So, Gerard, I hear that, and that's one thing coming from the coach. But you know what? As a coach, it is more impactful when the players take ownership of that, and when the players, with what we call peer-to-peer correction, say, "Hey, man, why are you jumping off sides? We just said in the huddle that we're going on 2." So I think my advice to a junior running back would be that the team, that the players take ownership of that and hold each other responsible for those type of penalties. Those are what we call unforced errors. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Talk to us about what do you see next week against East Ascension? What do you expect?
Get the W.
Get the W. All right. So was there a film session this morning?
Yes, sir. Well, we got
and what did you talk about? What you saw on film?
We gotta go out and fix some things, man. Missed blocks, missed opportunities. Everything that happened last night.
Okay, good. That's good. And talk about how long you've been playing football, and what do you aspire to do with your future football endeavors?
I've been playing football for like 12 years, I think.
Okay, what Breck organization?
I played for the Falcons, Louisiana Falcons.
Okay, all right. And what do you want to take this football thing?
I love to go. I let it go pro with it, man.
Ooh.
All right. Do you believe that you? What about college? What colleges would you like to attend? Have you heard from any colleges?
I ain't here for any colleges yet, but any college that give me an opportunity to play football, I just want to play.
That's a football player. I love that young man. That's a football player. Hey, man, so are you sticking around with us for the entire show, or no?
I think I gotta go somewhere in a little minute.
Okay. So what would you like to say to the many McKinley High alumni that listen to this show, some of your teammates that listen? What would you like to say to those folks?
Well, you guys keep supporting McKinley. We're gonna do our thing for you.
And Jayren, I just one other thing that you and I talked about last night that the audience hasn't heard yet. And I know I play, all of us have played football at some point, but I think it's important that these guys hear this. I told you last night I noticed one of your teammates, number 56, I think you told me his name was Ahmad, but it was really helped move the pile a few times, and you were talking about, the first thing you said was that you couldn't get it done without the linemen. So if those kids are listening or if they hear it on the replay, just talk about your offensive line real quick, because they're the ones that make any backfield work.
Do it again?
Your offensive line. I was just going to say, talk about your offensive line really briefly before we let you go.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, they work hard at practice, and like I wouldn't get all them yards if it wasn't for them.
Short, sweet, and to the point.
Great job. Well, hey man, hail McKinley High. We wish you the best of luck next week. Tell all your friends and family that if they can't make it to the game, they can listen to the game live on 96.9 FM, WHYR, Louisiana All American Sports. They can also follow the Gamecast at LouisianaAllAmericanSports.com, and we expect a big week out of you next week.
Thanks, man.
That was Jayren Thomas, number 4, running back, McKinley High School, putting up triple-digit yards last night in the effort for the homecoming victory for the McKinley Panthers, 19-6 over the district rival Broadmoor Buccaneers. Jayren, great job. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it, and what a game, especially the homecoming with the outpouring and all of the support that was there, man. It's nothing like it.
Man, there wasn't, and I'll tell you, it was getting real on the high school football scene in general last night. I think, are we ready to talk about other high school action?
Oh, most definitely, man. We got the scores right here. Actually, it was a fabulous night of football. Of course, we knew the weather was perfect.
Some stunning things happened, too.
Some stunning things happened last night. We're going to start off with Zachary against Live Oak. Zachary whooped Live Oak 42-28. That's the final. Scotlandville in a nail-biter gets past Walker 33-28, and Central.
Shocking.
That's a shock.
Shocking.
Central
Shocking.
beats Denham Springs 35-14. And before we go into like it's really a big upset, Coach, explain to me what we was talking about before the show started when we talked about Central and Denham Springs.
Yeah, you know what? I wish Gerard, hopefully he's still listening. So when McKinley went to Denham Springs, the results of last night's game from Central and Denham Springs shows me that McKinley was just a little intimidated by going to Denham Springs. They were intimidated by that atmosphere. That when they played Central, they were a lot more comfortable, even though it was a road game. They played them to a last-second field goal kick that Central won the game on. And if it wasn't for the opening kickoff of the second half, McKinley probably played a better game than Central did that game.
I think so too.
Yeah, so this McKinley football team, it really shows, the results from last night's game shows me that this is a good McKinley football team. And if they can just cut down on shooting themselves in the foot, there's no telling how far they can go. That's a good football team at Central as well as in Denham Springs. Mm-hmm. And they played toe-to-toe with Central High.
And Denham Springs. And Denham Springs, as you recall, we broadcast the game, Eric. Denham Springs, they was basically doing like quarterback keepers and getting into the end zone untouched.
A lot of misdirection,
too. There was a lot of misdirection, but I think Coach has something when he says McKinley probably was a little bit intimidated.
Even I felt it a little bit just as a broadcaster.
Right,
I felt like, wow, okay, I used to live in Denham Springs, and when I walked in, I was like, I forgot how big a deal these were
And it
on
was
Friday
the flood
night.
game. It was right after the flood. And there was a lot of people there, and it was
You can feel the emotion
right
there.
exactly. So hey, maybe this shows us that Denham Springs wasn't as a juggernaut as we thought. As Central beats them 35-14. Catholic comes back.
That was a war.
Wow, and beat St. Amant 31-28. The last I saw, St. Amant was winning that game. I want to say 28-0, or I know they was up 24-21-0.
I believe that I saw the highlights on the news. I'm pretty sure the Catholic won on a game-winning field goal. I think it was tied at 28, and I believe they took the lead on a field goal either later as time expired. That was a war.
And that was a nail biter. East Ascension beats Dutchtown out 24-0. And of course,
the next opponent.
Louisiana All American Sports game of the week was McKinley defeats Broadmoor 19-6 in their homecoming game. And we have also, I was looking down here. We had the Civil War going on last night.
Yeah. Oh, and our man Xavion Bell acted a fool last night. Yeah, as Bruley defeated Port Allen 45-21, and Xavion had he had triple digits, I believe, and got in the end zone quite a bit.
Wow. And Woodlawn goes down to Plaquemine. Plaquemine beats them 45-16. And so, Madison Prep too. Madison Prep won last night.
That was a slugfest with Dunham.
27-21. And Madison Prep is 8-0.
That is Madison Prep. I'll tell you that team has gone from that program has gone from boys to the proverbial boys to men very, very quickly. It's really remarkable to see how they've come up so quickly. And I believe U High destroyed somebody we bring to you. Right? Oh, it was Glen Oaks. They defeated Glen Oaks last night. I believe it was 48-0.
So we're going to definitely give shouts out to all the high school winners from last night. Of course, McKinley High School Panthers and their homecoming win. Hey, and this homecoming weekend, homecoming is not over. We have one today too, right?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
Hey, quick question before we transition. Is there a Southern Lab score?
I did not see. I didn't see one come across the score, but they must have played last night. I don't think they had a bye. We'll tell you what. We'll try to, because we definitely got to take care of our Southern Lab folks, as they are what I like to call a member school for Louisiana All American Sports. I'll search again if I see one.
As well as the Scotlandville Hornets are 8-0.
Yes. Oh wow! I can't believe we did. Did we talk about Scotlandville and Walker? We did.
Walker.
Yeah, that was a heck of a contest last night. Levi was chucking the rock all around, and they are 8-0. It was a close game. That was another one that Levi looked really good. At least what I saw in the film on the news last night, he looked fantastic. I'm going to try to dig. Southern Lab might have played on Thursday. That might be why it's not popping up. Right, but I'll try to find it.
With Southern Lab, the reason why I asked about that score is because they had a very significant event occur this week with Chris Allen. He was named to the Under Armour All American game. So Southern Lab has a player that will participate in that very prestigious event, as well as Plaquemine has a player. And I don't have Plaquemine's player's name right now, but Plaquemine has a player. 2 people out of the Baton Rouge area will participate in the National Under Armour All-American game.
And Chris Allen is a heck of first of all, it's a big, for those of you not familiar with it, that's a huge honor. That's almost like the All-Pro, one of the All-Pro games of high school players, if you will. I know it's a contradiction, pro, amateur, but you get it. That's a huge honor, though. And then also, Chris Allen is a heck of an athlete. If I remember correctly, he's also on the basketball team, a significant contributor to the Southern Lab basketball team. So that's a very, very gifted athlete in Chris Allen. I'm happy to hear that. We've covered Southern Lab and watched that program, take us. Of course, they're the reigning state champions, so they've really gone to the forefront in the last few years before our very eyes. So,
but the only thing about Southern Lab, and I want to ask Coach this: have they changed the name? They can't be the Fighting Kittens. The Fighting Kittens is just.
No, they're the mighty kittens. Hey man, whatever works. They win state championships, and that's what it's all about. Hey, the Plaquemine.
Oh my goodness! Hold on.
Go ahead, Coach.
The Plaquemine he also received an Under Armour jersey. So big props and congratulations to Todd Harris and Chris Allen. But for my money, man, I'm gonna tell you, I think the best player in the state by far is Levi Lewis.
Levi. That young man is amazing. He was amazing last year. He was amazing at the start of the year, and he's getting better and better with each passing week. And I do have a Southern Lab score. Oh my goodness! Was the whooping stick pulled out and just bang, 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 bang? Southern Lab defeated University Academy of Central Louisiana by the final score 81-0 last night.
Wow! Are you serious?
I'm not making that up.
Was that? You sure?
80. I'm reading right off of LHSAA.
You're not dyslexic, right?
I'm not having one of those. I'm not reading Kobe Bryant's line score from a few years ago when he dropped 81. 81-0. That brings the Kittens' record to 6-1. So they are looking really good heading into those last two district games of the season.
Man. Well, they are the fighting kids. I'm not going to talk about the fighting kids anymore.
I bet you somebody made a joke like okay, all right.
Okay. Bring that lion on in. Watch out, throw this fighting kid in there. Watch what he does. Hey.
So,
but going from the kittens to and it's homecoming today.
Oh, the Jaguars. The Jaguars are ready to roll. They had the parade this morning. They got the campers and the trailers and the tailgating going on. I'm sure they got some good barbecue and smoked pork and all kind of stuff over there on the bluff because it is showtime. In the SWAC, it is showtime on the bluff as it is Southern University's homecoming. And there's a lot to talk about and a lot to celebrate right now. The Jaguars are off to a very good start in SWAC. They are undefeated in Southwestern Athletic Conference play. They are 3-0. They host Arkansas Pine Bluff today. By the way, if you're going to that game, this is the gold game. It's the gold game. So if you go to A.W. Mumford Stadium, wear your gold on the campus today. But 4 o'clock, that game will be, you can listen to that game on 106.5 FM KQXL. Look, last week they went on the road to Jackson, Mississippi against their big heated rival, against Jackson State. Let me say this much. When you get a win in conference on the road, yes, a win is a win is a win, and Jackson State's a quality football team. But in listening to that game, there were some things. I hope Southern's not getting too comfortable reading their own headlines because the final was 28-24. Southern had opportunities to put that game away in the first half. Penalties, turnovers, same stuff we talk about with high school games.
Right.
They just kept Jackson State alive, and the game did not even need to be that close. Fortunately, Jackson State coughed it up and committed some silly penalties in the fourth when they had a chance to take the lead, and the Jaguars were able to run the ball and run out the clock. Exactly.
We don't want them to be like that.
That's what was happening.
Exactly.
That's what almost happened to the Jags. But Leonard Tillery, oh my goodness, what a gifted player, and then Austin Howard throwing the ball, and then Willie Quinn gives you those two dynamics both as a receiver on special teams. That is a big three, and that big three is capable of carrying Southern to a SWAC championship this year. It can happen. I'm not just blowing rainbows and happy unicorns or anything. I do think they're going to have some challenges against Grambling. I think it's going to be kind of Texas Southern is going to be kind of tough, but they play them here. But this team, this is a team with a lot of potential this year. There's a lot to be excited about, and this afternoon is another step in that journey.
Well, first I want to say, Coach, I just want to say I'm sorry. I know you're not going to be able to make the homecoming today, and
Yeah.
I know you miss it, but Coach said he has a remedy for it. He heard also that it was Howard University's homecoming today.
Mm-hmm. It's what my dad's graduate alma mater, actually.
And Coach is going to go attend that homecoming. Have you ever been to Howard's homecoming?
I've never gone to a Howard University homecoming.
That's going to be fun, I bet. I bet that's going to be a lot of fun. Especially up there. And it's going to be different, too. I think it's going to be really fun. I wish it could be in two places at once.
Yeah, but, homecoming here in Baton Rouge, Southern University homecoming, it's almost like a holiday. And so it is a big time event. And, of course, everybody's going to be up there today, joining in on the fun And Eric said you can listen to it on 106.5 XL.
106.5 at 4 o'clock, and it's also streaming on at least last week it was streaming on their website in case your radio signal is weak or you don't have your radio inside your house. So you can catch the action either way.
And I was frustrated last week, too, because I was saying to myself, Southern is better than what they was playing. It was keeping Jackson State in the game.
They were helping them. It was like,
it was like you was helping them. So, I'm picking Southern to win today.
Yeah, I'm picking the Jaguars also. I think they ought to actually. Arkansas Pine Bluff has got a lot of problems. They're I think 1-3 or 1-4 in SWAC play. That program is just they're 1-3 in SWAC play, 1-5 overall. But Arkansas Pine Bluff the last couple of years has been very much in the doldrums. I expect Southern to clobber APB, especially with it being homecoming. They're going to be charged up today.
Hey, well, I'm not sure if a clobber is going to happen. I do pick the Jags to win. You talked about Lenore Tillery, that McKinley High graduate, and how phenomenal he's playing up in the SWAC and up on the yard. But this Arkansas Pine Bluff team comes in with a formidable passing game, and the leading receiver for the Arkansas Pine Bluff team is a McKinley High graduate as well. His name is Cody Swain, and I had the pleasure of coaching both of these athletes, and Cody's tremendous, so he's going to watch out for him. Watch out for him today. Joker mentioned, or I think Eric mentioned Grambling. Grambling's still ranked number 3 in the national rankings, and Southern's going to have tremendous problems with our guy from Madison Prep.
Chad Williams. Yeah, he's going to be. I mean, I'm just so. It's when you see these guys as kids and you watch them have success as adults and grow and blossom, there is a feeling, I guess, a vicarious feeling of pride and satisfaction. I really have enjoyed watching that young man who's so dedicated to what he does develop as an athlete. Perry, this is you know a lot about the kind of these historical Baton Rouge athletes. The Cody Swain kid, he didn't have either a father or an older relative that played for Southern in the 80s named Cornell Swain, did he?
He had a relative that played for Southern as a center. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Cornell Swain. Mm-hmm. But he did have a relative that played for, and I can't recall Coach's name right now on the spot like that, and I apologize, Coach, because I coached with him. But maybe by the end of the show it'll come back to me. It's a senior moment.
10-4.
And let me say that I think you were referring to Prairie View, not Texas Southern, that may also provide challenges for Southern University.
Yeah, Prairie View is playing ball. They're playing on some tough ball. Yeah, and they are on the schedule. And that is, in fact, a road game. Right, Texas Southern is not like a few years ago. I got my Texas schools crossed up, and they actually have to go on the road to play Prairie View. So I mean, it's far from over, but there's a lot to be excited about. The next few weeks of Southern football is going to be very telling. It's going to be very telling as to what this team is made of. So
I still didn't get Coach's pick. So did you pick Southern? Because you kind of made a case for Pine Bluff.
Baby.
You kind of was making a case. Oh, okay. I know.
You're not Pine Bluffing, are you?
Right.
God, that was cheesy. I know. I couldn't help it.
Wah. Well, I tell you what, we're going to go to a musical break here. And we'll come back and we'll get to the other side of town as LSU has another big game that's going to be today. But first, I want you guys to check out this song by Lupe Fiasco, Strange Fruitation. Yeah, and that was Strange Fruition. I said fruitation at first, but I'm beginning. But Strange Fruition by Lupe Fiasco. And man, that's a deep song.
He's a lyricist, man.
Oh, you better believe it. He's a lyricist, but he has a message inside of a message inside of a message. And that's what I like. But we're back on our schedule, and we have another big game. And hey, let's go to the other side of town.
On the other side of town, moving quickly, rolling swiftly in the hootie rock.
And we're going to roll very swiftly over there. Look, we got probably one of the biggest traditional rivals of the Louisiana State University Tigers coming to town today. Too bad I couldn't find my clip with Dixie because it's the Ole Miss Rebels coming on down, and it's a top 25 matchup. And I'll tell you, yeah, oh, I do declare, but it's a top 25 matchup, and it's something we didn't think we'd have any top 25 matchups at LSU a few weeks ago after Les Miles was unceremoniously shown the door, but after two wide margin wins in a row after that Auburn game, LSU is back in the top 25. They're hosting number 23 Ole Miss. Ole Miss has come from ahead to choke multiple times this year against some big opponents, so it's going to be very. Yep, there's Ole Miss, and there's a lot of interesting psychology at play. This is the coach. This is the team that fired the program that fired Ed Orgeron a few years ago. Ed Orgeron used to be the head coach at Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze has built Ole Miss up into a contender. They've been ranked as high as number 1 before. The last time Ole Miss came to LSU, they were the number 1 team in the country, and LSU pulled off that major upset in that defensive slugfest on the ground game, in which Leonard Fournette put the team on his back. Leonard Fournette, interestingly enough, is all of a sudden his leg injury is healed. His ankle is fine, and he's going to be playing again. Now, I find it amazing that, he's okay, but we're going to hold him out for precautionary reasons against Southern Miss. And for Florida, he's questionable, and the Florida game was canceled. And for Missouri, we're going to hold him out for precautionary reasons. I think he's had that nagging injury 3 weeks in a row, but they didn't need him against Missouri. They didn't need him against Southern Miss. They need him against Ole Miss, and voila, that leg is ready to roll again. And Leonard Fournette, he has an opportunity for some Heisman moments. That game is going to be played tonight, 8 o'clock our time on ESPN, so it's going to be their featured game. I'm looking forward to it. I guess if I got to put it out there, I think ESPN's Power Index is giving LSU a 65% chance to win. I know LSU's favored by about 4 points in Vegas. I'm gonna pick LSU. Obviously, that's my team. I'm not going to pick against them when I don't have cause to pick against them, but what I'll say is don't be fooled by Ole Miss's record. This is a team that has lost some big leads against some very good teams in some close games. So I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be less than a 4 point. I think it's going to be the last team to get the ball wins. But I expect Fournette to have a big game. I think LSU will win. I would not bet the farm on it, though.
Well, this is going to be a good game. Ole Miss has a great quarterback, and that's
Chad Kelly, baby.
Yeah, Chad Kelly is a great quarterback, a great college quarterback. From what I'm seeing,
he has good genes.
Seeing him, yeah, and so I'm kind of want to lean toward them, but with a new coach, with being in Death Valley,
right.
I'm kind of leaning toward LSU. This is really a toss-up game, but I think Coach O is going to have his team prepared. I think with Leonard Fournette coming back, joining the way the offense has been, it's not been too bad. They haven't been giving the ball up that much.
They've scored.
Yeah, they scored and they put points on the board. And so I'm going to lean a little bit toward LSU just because of the home field advantage. So I'm going with LSU Tigers to beat Ole Miss.
I'm going to go with Ole Miss here. I do have to give big props to Coach Pete Jenkins. Let's hear it for the senior citizens. Coach Orgeron went and got Coach Pete Jenkins out of retirement, and to fill that defensive void that they had there from a defensive coordinator position, and he's one of the best in the business. So that will help LSU out a little this week. I'm not sure that they really need Leonard Fournette. I can't see how you can play any better than Darius Geis has played the past 2 games. But it's good to see him back on the field. But I think Ole Miss just has too much talent for LSU.
I'll tell you, I think it can go either way. Like I said, I definitely wouldn't bet the farm. I expect it to be a very good game. It's going to be a statement game, I think, for both teams. It's going to be a statement game, and I am looking forward to seeing that tonight.
I'm looking forward to seeing it, and maybe this can be a statement game for Coach O. Even though they're not a high-ranked team, but Ole Miss is still considered a good team, and I think they may be just a little bit underrated. Because Chad Kelly is, I go with the quarterbacks a lot. So when you have a great quarterback, I tend to lean toward them. But just because of the new system, it seems like LSU has a little bit more motivation since Coach O has been there. So, and at the home field advantage and the crowd and everything. And Leonard Fournette, of course, Geis has been playing lights out.
He has been.
But
hey, guys, you made your picks. We don't have to justify them.
Okay. You're right. It's another showdown that's going down then. Let's talk about this game. Alabama and Texas A&M. And that is going to be a barn burner, so, hey, let's get ready for it.
That's going to be a heck of a contest. It's going to be on CBS at 2:30 today. This is going to be a statement game. You got the two teams tied at the top of the SEC's Western Division. Alabama, it is going to be at Bryant. I always slip up and get ready to say Bryant-Denny Stadium. At Bryant-Denny Stadium in Alabama, and they're hosting Texas A&M. Kevin Sumlin is going to bring his brand of offense there. The A&M defense has improved leaps and bounds over the last couple of years, really just since last year. A&M has been tested quite a bit. They were tested within an inch of losing against Tennessee, but managed to hang on after letting a big lead slip. Alabama had to come from way behind to beat Ole Miss. What that tells me is these teams have a good core. They have resilience. Look, it will be interesting to see what happens. I think it'll be competitive, but I already know we can almost cue the tongues up because when you have Alabama and Texas A&M, I am not going to pick, especially at home. I'm not going to pick against Nick Saban. So, so I'm going to go with the Alabama Crimson Tide today. But I think there are going to be a lot of points scored. I don't think Alabama's going to have like a 10-7 or a 13-3. I think they're going to have to score a lot of points to beat Texas A&M, but I do think Nick Saban and Alabama in Tuscaloosa, Crimson Tide.
I got my incense set up over here. I got my music. Let me turn the lights down a
Nick
bit.
Saban, you're the best.
Nick Saban, you're the best. Nick Saban, I'm sorry. I won't take a dish. Nick Saban,
We like to have fun here.
So you know already, Joker P is not going against Nick Saban. I will be picking Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide to defeat Texas A&M.
So normally, hey, I'm on the bandwagon. I'm following Joker with this. However,
oh no,
the Soul Patrol. I love this coaching staff at Texas A&M. If there is one defensive coordinator that Nick Saban hates to see, it is John Chavis. He beat him at LSU. He beat him when he was with Tennessee. John Chavis seems, once he gets players, now the last couple of years he had just gotten to Texas A&M, he didn't have the athletes that he needs. I think this year may be the year for the Soul Patrol. The only thing that gives me concern is it is in Alabama, but I'm going to go with Texas A&M.
Gig 'em Aggies. I got a couple of Aggie friends who listen to the show, so you hear it. Coach Perry Daniels is picking your guys. I think it's going to be a great contest. I love that. I do like the coaching staff at A&M, and they look like the A&M team of the 90s that was very, very hard to beat.
hey, we'll find out.
Hey, who do we have coming up in about 13 minutes? We have
Noel Jackson
with Music Satisfaction on 96.9 FM WHYR LP, Baton Rouge Community Radio.
Well, I mean, hey, we'll go right from those guys into the big boys and see what's going on.
And the National Football League. Well, you know, we have, we're in Louisiana, so of course we're going to talk about our New Orleans Saints. You know, they got off to a very bad start, 0-3. Two of those games were lost literally in walk-off fashion in the final minute, but, you know, almost only counts with horseshoes and with hand grenades, and this is neither. The Saints have rallied. They've won the last couple of games. They had a pretty convincing victory. Granted, the Carolina Panthers rallied, but they beat the Panthers at home, the defending NFC South and NFC champions. That showed me a little something. It showed me a couple of things. One, it shows me that the Saints offense is capable of producing as I always thought they were, but it also shows me that defense is just a liability. Now you have to go on the road to Arrowhead at the Kansas City Chiefs Andy Reid and Alex Smith have a very good chemistry. Alex Smith might not be a sexy name for a quarterback. He might not be doing Gatorade or Wheaties commercials, but Alex Smith, when he is healthy and has competent players around him and adequate protection and good coaching, is a very, very solid quarterback. And the Saints defense is the opposite of solid. They're like silly putty the way they are. Now, there is some good news, is that the Saints' first-round pick, Sheldon Rankins, the defensive tackle from Louisville, he is finally back in the lineup. They called him up off of injured reserve. He was the lone designee to return. The Saints very much need that strong, young, quick presence in the middle. Jamal Charles, though, of the Kansas City Chiefs is coming back, and the Chiefs have been decent enough as it is running the football without Charles. Charles is a bona fide Pro Bowler, bona fide All-Pro. Look, I want to pick the Saints. I hope they win. I think they'll score some points, but I think the Chiefs will be too much in Arrowhead, so I'm going to pick going with the Chiefs.
Going with the Chiefs.
I'm sure my man Derek, if he's listening, would love that.
He probably would love that. This is another big game. Actually, early in the season, the Saints are 2-3. If they can get this win, they would be 500. And of course, the Kansas City Chiefs are 3-2. This would help them in their division in the AFC West if they can get this win, especially with Oakland Raiders.
Right. Whoever thought that would be a competitive division?
And, right. Oakland Raiders, and of course the defending champion.
Joker thought it. Joker
That's
said
right.
in the preseason about this Oakland Raider team.
Yes, and well, what can I say? But seriously, I think the Saints may have found a little something. They showed me a little something. I was against the Saints when they was 0-3, but they won 2 in a row, and so this is almost a toss-up. But Eric said it best. It's hard to win in Arrowhead. Arrowhead is probably one of the toughest places to win at. I mean, I remember I used to live there in Kansas City, and those guys out there are really rabid fans, sort of like Saints fans. But it's hard to win in that outside stadium in that weather. Yeah, and so, man, I like Spencer Ware. He's been doing okay with, of course, he's from LSU. I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs on this. I can't go with the Saints on this. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs win this game. I'm going to even give a score 28-17.
Wow, that's pretty good. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here as well. I know we've got one more NFL game to pick.
And the I told you so.
Let's get the I told you so in before we even pick that game.
Okay.
Man. But I want to tell you about the movie, The Love Story, I went and saw at the movies a couple of weeks ago as well. So.
Okay, awesome.
Wow, okay, we get a little romance today.
All right.
Well, good. Well, hey, we'll get to who said this and who said that last week and who picked this team and who picked that team with our weekly edition of I Told You So.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
I think mentally he has grown and matured so much, and he has impressed me in that way, and I think that's going to translate on the field. So I expect San Francisco to actually go in, which they are the underdog, and beat Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, together, I should say, failing to come together. I don't know. I can't, just from a football standpoint, I can't pick them to beat Buffalo, but I do think Kelly's making the right choice to go with Kaepernick. I think that's
sometimes people on your own team, Joker, sabotage things, because they're just that vehemently opposed to what you stand for. So I don't see that team coming together anytime soon with that change of quarterback.
For this week, Southern and Jackson State, who you got?
Well, the almighty Southern Jaguars.
Southern.
And I got Southern too.
Southern. Sorry, Coach.
Southern.
I'm picking Southern.
No,
They're following it. I think LSU out trumps Southern Miss in talent, so I think LSU wins. And knock on wood, I think they win pretty handily going away.
Yeah, I say LSU as well. They're going to put a whooping on them.
So I'm going with LSU.
I've got LSU. Did we? Buffalo, San Francisco?
No, we did not. Sorry, Buffalo, Frisco. Who you got?
Buffalo, San Francisco.
I'm going to go with the Bills. They have some monsters on both sides of the ball. I think it's going to pull out a win.
Tennessee, Alabama. Of course, I got Alabama.
I hate to say, but I have to go with Alabama.
Coach, Alabama, Tennessee.
Oh man, the great Nick Saban. Man.
Yeah!
We got a lot. That was a pretty clean sweep last week.
Yeah. And I was going with hope last week. You know what I mean?
You know, and I'll tell you, man, they got off. He got off to a decent start, especially with his feet. But that 49ers team.
I got happy at first, but I think Perry hit it on the head that sometimes guys are sabotage.
But you know what, though? It's interesting. I was listening to that, and there was an interview. Oh, I cannot remember which player it was, but it was a defensive player for the 49ers, and I cannot remember. I listen to a lot of sports talk radio. I can't remember the show, but he was asked a question about that component. Are you divided in the locker room? And I think it was a white guy, actually. And then anyway, he hit the roof. He was like, no, that's the media making stuff. We're behind them. We were all teammates. No. So I don't know what's going on there. And I will say this much. Chip Kelly's the coach. And with Chip Kelly in the NFL, dysfunction often follows. So I don't know which side to buy. But that football team, if they're together, that takes away one possible excuse because, if you're playing that badly, maybe you can come together later. If that team's together, they're doomed because they've got a lot of problems on both sides of the ball. They don't look like they're one unit. So I was having some hope also. I think Kaepernick's going to get the start again in Frisco's next game, but that team's got a lot of problems. But I do think he's their only hope, and I do like the conversation that ensues every time you see Kaepernick on television. So, is Coach...
Hey, let's pick the New England Pittsburgh game.
Oh man, whoa!
So look, this is interesting.
That's dimple in the chin.
Yeah, dimple in the chin, and he looked like he had something to prove coming off of his suspension, and he looks like the same old Tom Brady. He looks like he didn't miss a step, and he probably the rest benefited him. I think the only way it did not benefit him was in his pocketbook. I think he lost about $3.5 million of salary, and I don't care how rich you are, you're gonna miss $3.5 million.
So dimple in the chin against what is it, Landry Jones?
Landry Jones will be getting the start for the Steelers. It's in Heinz Field, and I think New England will win the game. But I'll tell you what, I'm not as cocksure as a lot of folks might be. That's going to be a 3:25 game on CBS tomorrow. But Pittsburgh,
hey Eric, I'll give you 10 points in that game.
Really?
New England's going to beat those boys by. Come on, man.
I'm saving that.
Pittsburgh has kind of been save this on I told you so.
Hey, so look, go ahead, Joker. Go ahead.
Pittsburgh has been kind of on the up and down. They've been getting beat by a lot of other teams, even. So I'm going with New England plus 10.
Wow, that's pretty strong. We chose this game to pick because we know there's going to be a lot of controversy in this game. The New England Patriots communication on the sideline probably won't work.
That's good for them.
That's just how things go. And the Steelers, the Dolphins benefited last week from this being the game that the Steelers had to play this week. I'm convinced that they looked past Miami and were waiting for this game. Mm-hmm. But then they didn't have any idea that they were going to lose their quarterback. So it's going to be tough for Pittsburgh to win that game, even at home. But it's going to be a very, very close football game. Although I do think that New England will pull it out. Now, the love story. So last week I go to the movies. I check out this tremendous love story. It's called Birth of a Nation. And I would suggest it to all of you. It is an amazing movie. It is difficult to watch at times, but at its core, it is about love. And you have to witness it to see it. I know there's been a lot of controversy about the movie and the Nate Parker and his whole situation. However, I am very grateful that Nate Parker made this movie because now when our kids Google Birth of a Nation, when our grandkids, great-grandkids Google Birth of a Nation, they're not going to get that D.W. Griffin movie anymore that depicted blacks, African Americans as savages, loving watermelon and out to rape white women and all of that rhetoric. So that from that standpoint, it was a very strategic move to name this movie what he named it. And the subject matter of the movie is real. It is real. And pay close attention if you happen to make it out there to see it. Pay close attention to the role that religion played in enslavement.
Wow, very well. I like that.
Yeah, I want to see it very much so, but having two infants at home, I don't even know what a movie theater is anymore. So when it gets out to Netflix or the Redbox, I'm going to check it out right away. I really do want to see this film. I don't think I'm going to have that chance.
And I think Birth of a Nation, what makes some people uncomfortable is this is a slave rebellion movie. You know, most slave movies, you don't see the slave rebel. And so this is one of the first ones that I've seen in my lifetime. It's the first movie I've seen in my lifetime where the slaves actually rebelled and fought back. And so, hey, Birth of a Nation.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've heard nothing but good things. But I like powerful, gritty films that make you think, that could make people uncomfortable. I think it's good for the soul, so to speak. And it sounds like it's been doing pretty. Has it? From what I've been hearing, the little blips of entertainment I can get in between bottles and diapers, it sounds like it's been very successful at the box office. Am I correct?
Well, it depends on who you ask. You know, there's a lot of press saying that it was a flop at the box office. You know, but it depends on how you measure that. It's returned the investment. Those investors that place their money up, it has made what it costs to make it.
Mm-hmm. That's half the battle in the film industry. You don't lose money; you're winning in the film business. And I can go on a whole nother tirade with that, but we're running out of time here. Let's see how much time we got left here.
We got about 2 minutes, or do we?
Oh no, we're over. We're over. That clock is slow up there. We gotta peace out. We gotta turn the board over to Noel. I didn't realize that.
I didn't.
Absolutely.
Hey, but I want to thank you guys for joining us, and join us next week for the Louisiana All American Sports Show. I'm signing out. Gerard Pipe, A.K. Joker P.
ADT, JNS, love you.
Have a good afternoon.
Love you.
Have a good afternoon.
Hail to the king.